the rumors are true. I did buy new books, and all of them are thrifted, and I wanted to share them with you, so here we are. I have been going feral recently for thrifted books online, in person, ever I can get my hands on them, because suddenly there's been kind of a bloom of English used books, which is quite rarely to find here in Norway. So I've just been grabbing everything I can, and here I have a big old stack to show you. Ooh, I feel like a kid on Christmas morning. I don't really know where to start or where to begin, but I think I'm going to start with this collection of Oxford classics. Kind of happy that I managed to find these ones. I don't have many of them, but they are quite good. They have a lot of good notes and just introductions in them, so let's begin with Mr. Dickens, Oliver Twist. I have not read a Charles Dickens yet. This might be my first. I kind of want to read the Tale of Two Cities first, but this is the one I have. I think I've seen the movie sometime when I was young, probably. That sounds probable. But I don't know anything about it. I know it's about the workhouses and this orphan, Oliver Twist, that kind of get dragged into some illegal stuff, I think. The next two are two Anne Radcliffe novels. We got a Sicilian Romance, which looks quite cool, and The Italian, which I have heard of. I think she is kind of a well-known writer in the Gothic genre. I think she kind of was early. Yeah, she wrote this in 1790. That's a long time ago. And I think she kind of loves nature writing, Gothic dramas, anything like that. To be honest, I don't know too much about it. I just heard that people really like her. She has kind of the old-time language, which is probably going to be kind of difficult for me to read, but it's going to be a challenge that I accept gladly. Probably going to start with this A Sicilian Romance, because that was published before The Italian. And it's shorter, so maybe a bit more overcomable. I mean, the back says, in A Sicilian Romance, Radcliffe began to forge a unique mixture of the psychology of terror and poetic description that will make her the great exemplar of the Gothic novel and the idol of the Romantics. I'm sold. So that was the Oxford editions that I found. And next we have more vintage, I guess. May I perhaps interest you in a bit of John Steinbeck? I think a lot of people on the internet love this man, and I found 3 of his shorter novels in these older editions. I had only heard of one of these before when I picked them up, but I'm currently reading East of Eden, so I kind of want a bit more samplery of his writing. We got The Wayward Bus. Don't know anything about this one, and it's got sprayed edges, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but apparently a lot of the older books have sprayed edges. It's not a new thing, apparently. And we got Cup of Gold, which looks kind of like a Western book, I don't know. And The Red Pony, which is the only one that I had heard of before this one. So excited to read this one, probably in the wintertime, to get a bit more familiarized with his writing and just get a bit more examples of his writing, except for East of Eden. To go along with that, I also got a bit of Ernest Hemingway. A Movable Feast, the one I have heard a lot about. It's also non-fiction about his time in Paris, which, with a bunch of other writers in the 1920s, sounds fun, sounds interesting, and also Islands in the Stream. Never heard of before, but I mean, I need to start somewhere with his writing. Those are the 2 Hemingways. I think I'm going to start with The Movable Feast, just to sample his writing to see if it's something I want to read, because I've been interested to read A Farewell of Arms and For Whom the Bell Tolls, but those are quite chunky, so maybe this will be a good place to start. I also managed to find 2 Daphne du Maurier books. We have Jamaica Inn, which for me, this reminds me of a vintage movie cover, mystery movie cover, drama. That seems kind of is what it is, and it's also got sprayed edges again. I'm not the biggest fan, but you get what you get. and I have Rebecca on my shelves, but I haven't read it yet. But now I have 3 Daphne du Maurier, so I do need to pick them up soon. And this is My Cousin Rachel. Again, don't know anything about it. But it says on the back that My Cousin Rachel is a superb study of the cancer of the human mind, suspiciousness. So, I mean, sounds right up my street. And now I can just binge this author. This well-loved author on the internet. I think TikTok goes feral for Rebecca at this time of year. Can I interest you in a bit of epic poems? This is Paradise Lost by John Milton. I mean, look at this cover, it's just gorgeous. This is a Penguin Popular Classic Edition, and I just found this cover so... it's just something about it that makes me want to pick it up. This is an epic poem about the fall of Satan and the creation myths, and yeah, I think that is it. I think I need to maybe do some more research to get a bit more context of this book before going to it, and I think this is going to be a slow read that you kind of take your time with, look up some videos explaining things for you to get the whole picture of things. But it's a project that I am up to the task for. I do really want to get to this one. Talking about big ancient poems, we got the Aeneid by Virgil. I think this is a set of 6 stories that makes up this epic poem about Aeneas. And it's kind of a follow-up to the Iliad, which I'm currently reading, so it's a good time to pick this one up. And this is the Wordsworth edition. I kind of really like this one. It's kind of beat up, but who cares? And it doesn't say who translated this one. I don't know who translated this one. If you know, please let me know. But again, an epic poem. I'm trying to get more into ancient epic poems because they intimidate me, and I really want to challenge myself. Women Who Run with the Wolves. This book, I have seen all of my free page. So many people that I look up to, so many women who I look up to swears by this book. They preach it as their Bible, as the book to live by, and obviously I need to read it because I look up to these people and I want to see what all of the hype is about. It's non-fiction about being a woman. Within every woman there lives the wild woman. She is a powerful force filled with passionate creativity and ageless knowing. The wild woman represents the instinctive nature of woman, but she is an endangered species. Though the gifts of wildish nature belong to us at birth, society attempts to civilize us into rigid roles, has muffled the deep, life-giving messages of our own souls. It sounds like something that you have to sit with for a long time, take knowledge of, and it's something that you can use in your life and just have in the back of your mind for the rest of your life. So I'm kind of interested to see this one. And this one, it was also personalized when I got it. So someone bought this one in Oslo the 7th of December 1994 while they were waiting for their flight. So that's kind of special. Franz Kafka, you know him, you love him, you might hate him. But I found a short story collection by him in the Penguin Modern Classic Edition, kind of older ones. And this is Description of a Struggle and Other Stories. I have not heard of this one, but I have heard of Kafka, and I'm interested. We're going with the Irish, and it's James Joyce. We have Dubliners, which is, again, a collection of short stories, I think, set in Dublin. Don't know much about it. I've just heard that if you want to get into his writing, this is a good place to start. And this is also a Norton Critical Edition, which has a lot of good notes in introductions and just notes in the margins. It's mainly used for schools. I think this is a good edition to read from when you want to get into his works. So we got this one. And then I also have The Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man, which is kind of his prequel to Ulysses, I think, and it's short. It's about this fellow Stephen Dedalus, and it's about his him growing up, and he is a central character in Ulysses, I think. So you kind of recommended to read this one before. This is a Warsword Classic Edition, and this is fully annotated. I think the person that had this before me used this for school or something, because it's annotated a lot with drawing connections and analyzing the words and what everything means and stuff like that. And I mean, look at this. It's fully annotated. I think this might help me a bit while reading it, because I can get some more insights that maybe I wouldn't have had if I read this by myself. Okay, we're nearing the end. We got the last stack here. So let's start with Jane Austen. Pride and Prejudice, her most famous novel, I would say. I have not read any Jane Austen. I'm currently reading Northanger Abbey, so that might be a half-lie. But I went to this independent bookstore in Oslo, because I traveled to Oslo this weekend for a concert. And they stock only English books, and it's a mix between used and new books. And I really wanted to support them, but as a student I have to kind of save my money a little bit. But I picked up this used copy of Pride and Prejudice, because, I mean, I feel like it's a book that you have to read sometime in your life. And as I have started to get more into Jane Austen's works, I now have this ready to go on my shelf. Another romance, I think, is Howard's End by E.M. Forster. I have read Maurice by him, and I really enjoyed that one. So I want to have more by this author. I have A Room with a View, and now I have Howard's End. So I think this is the movie cover, and this one is also personalized. Paul Martin and Nora bought this in London, July 1993. So this is 9 years older than me. Wow. I don't know anything about it, I just know that I want to read more of E.M. Forster. I think you can see there's a common theme in this video, that I don't know much about all of these books. It's just I'm interested and want to read them. But I try to avoid spoilers. I mean, I'm 200 years too late for spoilers for so many of them. So if I get spoiled, I can't really complain. But I try to go in blind in as many books as I can. I also have this other Penguin Modern Classic Edition. This is a bit older edition, kind of similar to how they are looking now. But this is The Heart is a Lonely Hunter by Carson McCullers. And I think this is set in Southern America. And it's depressing, I think. And I think it's about the group of people that kind of get drawn into this person's circle. And it's depressing. That's all I know. Moving, sensitive, and deeply humane, The Heart is a Lonely Hunter explores loneliness, the human need for understanding, and their search for love. It sounds very beautiful. Can't wait to cry my eyes out while reading that. Okay, 2 more to go. Let's go with Written on a Body by Jeanette Winterson. I'm just covering up this upper part. I think this is well known in kind of queer literature. It's kind of standard, have to read. And this is kind of about a genderless person, gender fluid you can say. We never get to know the gender of this person, but this person has relations with both men and women, so obviously queer. And I think it's just how this person go about life, how it interacts with other people. Is it snowing outside? Oh my god, it's snowing outside. It's the first snow of the year. Oh my god. But it says that Written on a Body is a book for the human condition, a book which recognizes love as our most significant achievement. Generous in scope, sumptuous in detail, this is a story told by a vulnerable and subversive Lothario, gender undeclared. Jeanette Winterson has fused mathematical exactness with poetic intensity and made language new. Yes, can't wait to read this one. And we also got the Queen herself on the back. Her Author photo is just the whole back, which is kind of iconic. Okay, last book, which I think is good because it suddenly just got way too dark in here. That is this gorgeous limited edition, which I don't think I can read from. I'm kind of scared of ruining it, but this is Adam Bede by George Eliot. George Eliot wrote Middlemarch, which is what I know her for. Don't know anything about it other than that this was printed in 1928 and it's kind of falling apart, so I don't think I can read from this edition. Have to probably get a new one. Sorry, I'm kind of distracted by the snow outside. The snow has come so late this year. It's kind of ridiculous actually, and it's basically melting as soon as it hits the ground. It's so warm outside. It's ridiculous. Like, we haven't hit -degrees yet. And it's November. That's unusual. I think I forgot how to speak. That is good that this is the end of the video, because my mind is just all over the place. But that was all of the books that I have collected, that I have acquired, that I have picked out the last few weeks. And I probably need to slow down my book buying a little bit, because I probably get a few books for Christmas. But if I come over a good steal of a book that I'm interested in, I will buy it, especially used, because they are, I mean, quite inexpensive. But yeah, I always love a good thrift book haul. Anyways. We have... This is the Norwegian edition of A Room with a View, or Et rom med utsikt, by E.M. Forster. I just thought it was kind of cool. It's hardcover. It looks kind of old. I don't really read much in Norwegian, but I was just delivering a book there, so I just thought, well, just pick it with me and see if it's something that I want to read. I also got the English version, so I might give this one away, or just put it back where I found it, but it was quite cool. And it's also got this little bookmark. Then we got Growth of the Soil by Knut Hamsun. He is a Norwegian classical author, and this one I actually have in Norwegian already on my shelves, but I tried reading it, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't read much in Norwegian. I probably should read a lot more, but yeah, I got this one. I think I'm going to read it in Norwegian, and then maybe later in my life I might read it in English. And then one I found, which made me very, very excited, is the first 3 books in the Wheel of Time series. I've been thinking about reading this one for so long, because it's a classical fantasy series and I want to get more into just the classical fantasies. And someone left the first 3 books. It was a sign, it truly was. And these are kind of the very weirdly sized mass market paperbacks, but I mean, it will work. Ooh, what's that? Okay, so someone they ripped out something off the newspaper to use as a bookmark. That's nice. You gotta use what you have. I think this is something I will be trying out next year and see if I like it. And I know that my library has quite a few of these, so if I enjoy it, I might just end up reading the rest from the library. And it's also still in the box, which is quite nice. Oh, yeah. Well, I just ripped the box, so it's not quite nice no longer, but... Next 4 is some fantasy ones. We got Darkness That Came Before and The Warrior Prophet by R. Scott Bakker. These are the first 2 in a trilogy by him. I have heard that this is quite very, very, very grimdark, but also a very good written fantasy series, and it's quite older. I don't know much about it. I just saw someone that I really, really trust in fantasy recommendations say that they really enjoyed this one. So when I saw them at the secondhand bookshop, I had to pick them up. Malazan, The Book of the Fallen. Book 2 and 3 will have Dead House Gates, and then Memories of Ice. I have not read the first one. I do own it. I think it's behind me. Can you see it? It's not there. Oh, I do have the first one. Haven't read it yet, but I found these matching editions, and I think that Marasan is going to be my project series for next year, hopefully. So at least I have the first 3 books prepared for when I'm ready to go. We have these 3. We got Tamsin by Peter S. Beagle. This is the author of The Last Unicorn, which I have heard of, and he is kind of known for being a very, very early writer in fantasy, and is very cozy and just a very stable classical fantasy. I haven't heard of this one, but I mean, I saw the cats on the cover and I couldn't resist. And I think it's about this girl who moves to England, and then the house they move into is haunted, and she becomes friends with this ghost, which also has a cat. Then we got 2 of these Penguin vintage classics. They're both by Anthony Trollope. We got The Barchester Towers and The Small House at Allington. I think this is a part of a series. I don't have the first one, but I read somewhere that you don't need to read the first one to read the second one. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but these are the only ones I could find at the shop, so they came home with me. And I also love these Penguin vintage classics. I love how they line up on the spines and everything. I want more of them, but they're quite hard to find here in Norway. I think we all heard of Agatha Christie, and when I saw this collection of her works, I grabbed them all. I haven't read any Agatha Christie. I've been thinking recently that I really should. I don't know if any of these are good places to start. I probably need to do some research on that, but because I haven't heard of any of these stories before. But the ones we have are The Clocks, The Mystery of the Blue Train, Evil Under the Sun, The Secret of Chimneys, Murder in the Mews, and The Man in the Brown Suit. So that's my little Agatha Christie collection. Vintage covers. I think they just are very, very cool. Atonement by Ian McEwan. I haven't heard of this one before, but I've heard of the author, and I don't know, I just thought it might be something that I would like to read, and it's only about $1. So then we got Liam McMurphy. What did I just say? I don't know. Larry McMurtry. He is the author of Lonesome Dove, which I have heard of, but this is not my book. This is Leaving Cheyenne. I just picked it up because I've heard of the author. He's very, very, very known for his works, the Western works that he has done, and this might be a way to get into his writing. I know Lonesome Dove is quite chunky, and this is not so chunky, so it might be a good place to start. So that was all of the books that I have acquired recently from different secondhand places. As you can see, it's quite a lot, so I have a lot to read this winter. So wish me luck for all of my reading, and please tell me, what are you reading at the moment, or what are your favorite finds at the secondhand bookshop? Because I really think you can find some golden treasures in those places, and I want more of them where I live. We only have 2, and it's very rarely do I find English books there, so I have to go online to find some stuff. But thanks so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye.